Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a case today that initially seemed like a straightforward suicide.
Oh, yeah.
But as investigators peeled back the layers,
Yeah,
they uncovered a much more sinister story.
absolutely.
A tale of manipulation, betrayal,
Yeah,
and ultimately murder.
definitely a deep dive.
We're examining the case of Kendy Howard,
Okay.
found dead in her bathtub on February 2nd, 2021 in Idaho.
Right.
Her husband,
Yeah.
Dan Howard,
Uh-huh.
a former state trooper,
Mm.
called 911 to report the incident.
Okay.
And initially,
Yeah.
it appeared to be a suicide.
Right.
Self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Mm.
But things weren't as it seemed.
No.
Were there any initial red flags that stood out to you in this case?
Right from the start, the scene had some really odd details.
Okay.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Minimal blood spatter.
Hmm.
No suicide note.
Right.
Kendy's body was positioned strangely in the tub.
Oh, wow.
And get this. The dryer was running.
The dryer was running.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just those little things that make investigators go,
Yeah.
hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right here.
It's like in those crime shows where they zoom in on a seemingly insignificant detail.
Yeah, exactly.
And suddenly it changes the whole picture.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
the seemingly insignificant details
Mm-hmm.
lead investigators to dig a little deeper into the Howard's past.
Right.
What did they find?
Well, their relationship was far from perfect.
Okay.
They had a history of arguments,
Mhm.
separations.
Oh, wow.
There were even reports of domestic violence
Hmm.
and infidelity on Dan's part.
So not exactly the picture of marital bliss,
No, not at all.
given these revelations about their relationship.
Yeah,
Does it shift our perspective on Kendy's death?
absolutely.
Okay.
You can't ignore that troubled history.
Right.
It casts a whole new shadow of doubt on the suicide theory.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you wonder if there was something more going on.
Right.
Maybe something more sinister.
Yeah.
Could this have been something more than just a tragic suicide?
And then
Yeah.
there's another twist in the story.
Okay.
Investigators uncovered that Dan Howard had recently taken out a substantial life insurance policy on Kendy.
Oh, wow.
That's a big red flag.
Huge.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a former state trooper,
Uh-huh.
someone familiar with crime scenes and investigations.
Right.
Who stands to gain financially from his wife's death?
Yeah.
It definitely raises suspicions.
Oh, absolutely.
Does this new information potentially point towards premeditation?
It's hard to ignore that possibility.
Right.
I mean, when you combine the troubled relationship,
Yeah.
the suspicious death scene, and now this life insurance policy,
Right.
it really starts to paint a picture of a potential premeditated act.
But then
Yeah.
the investigation takes a turn.
Right.
The suicide theory is completely debunked.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
They found no gunpowder residue on Kendy's hands,
Hmm.
and the angle of the bullet didn't match up with a self-inflicted wound.
Oh, wow.
So it was staged.
So someone intentionally made it look like a suicide.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's almost like they were trying to create a false narrative,
Exactly.
leading everyone to believe that Kendy had taken her own life.
Right.
But the forensic evidence just didn't add up.
It's amazing how science can unveil the truth like that.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like those tiny pieces of evidence become silent witnesses, telling a story completely different from the one that was initially presented.
Exactly.
And it was this mounting evidence
Right.
that ultimately led to Dan Howard cracking under pressure.
Oh, wow.
He confessed
He confessed to everything.
to the whole thing.
Wow.
He admitted to staging the scene,
Mm-hmm.
disposing of the weapon in a nearby lake,
Mm.
and using a carotid restraint hold.
A carotid restraint hold.
Yeah.
Like a choke hold.
Yeah, a technique he learned from his law enforcement training
Oh, jeez.
to subdue Kendy before shooting her.
It's chilling how he used his professional knowledge
I know.
in such a twisted way
Yeah.
to try and cover up his crime.
It sends shivers down your spine.
It really does.
So in July 2023,
Yeah.
Dan Howard was arrested
Okay.
and charged with first-degree murder.
First-degree murder.
Right.
That means premeditation.
Right.
Okay.
Meaning that the prosecution believed that Dan had planned Kendy's murder in advance.
That's a serious charge.
It is.
Yeah.
His trial began in March 2024,
Okay.
and the prosecution presented a strong case,
Yeah.
laying out all the evidence, connecting the dots,
Right.
and ultimately painting a picture of Dan's guilt.
And what did the jury decide?
Well, it didn't take them long to reach a verdict,
Really?
just over 8 hours of deliberation,
Oh,
and they found him
yeah.
guilty.
Wow.
But not of first-degree murder, of second-degree murder
Second degree.
and domestic battery.
So what's the difference between first and second-degree murder?
First-degree implies that the killing was premeditated,
Right.
planned in advance.
Yeah.
Whereas second-degree suggests that the killing was intentional,
Okay.
but not necessarily planned.
Gotcha.
So it seems the jury believed that Dan intended to kill Kendy,
Mm-hmm.
but they couldn't definitively prove,
Yeah.
beyond a reasonable doubt,
Right.
that he had planned it all out beforehand.
Interesting.
A few months later,
Yeah.
Dan Howard was sentenced
Okay.
to life in prison
Wow.
without the possibility of parole.
That's a powerful statement from the justice system.
It is.
Yeah.
This case is a stark reminder
Yeah.
of the devastating consequences of domestic violence.
Absolutely.
And it also highlights
Yeah.
how abusers can manipulate
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and exploit their positions of authority
Right.
to try and evade justice.
It's a chilling reminder that things aren't always as they appear,
No, they're not.
and that we need to be vigilant in recognizing the red flags.
Yeah.
The subtle signs that something might be terribly wrong.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes
Yeah.
those seemingly small details
Right.
can be the key to unraveling a much larger and more complex truth.
And it leaves us with this question.
Yeah.
Could we as a society do more
Mm.
to recognize those red flags
Yeah.
and address them before it's too late?
That's the real takeaway here.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a question that we all need to ask ourselves.
Absolutely.
And one that hopefully will lead to greater awareness
Yeah.
and prevention of these tragic situations.
Hopefully.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
It has.
Yeah.
We'll be back with another case soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
Until then, stay vigilant
Stay safe.
and remember,
Yeah.
sometimes the truth is hidden in plain sight.
It often is.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out for help.
There are resources available,
You are not alone.
and there is hope.
Thank you for listening.
See you next time.